Thank you for tuning in to Terry's Swoop Videos. On today's video, I'm going to do a Where They Now on the 1970s black actress, Gloria Hendry. Now, Gloria Hendry is most known for the blaxploitation era. In the 1970s, they would make movies about stereotypical black culture. And she starred in a lot of these movies. She was in Hell Up in Harlem, she was in Black Caesar, she was in Slaughter's Big Score with Jim Brown. Now, a lot of civil rights leaders were against these movies because they looked at these movies as stereotyping black people. But she played the hero in most of these movies. She always played the love interest in some of these movies. So I didn't have a problem with her character in most of the movies. Most of her characters were very positive. And she was also the first black woman to co-star in James Bond. She's the first black woman to be James Bond's love interest. And when this movie came out in 1973, Live and Let Die, it was a huge controversy because it was the first time a major movie which starred a white man had a love scene with a black woman. So a lot of people around the world were outraged when this movie came out in 1973. People need to remember that the country was completely different back then than it is now. So she got a lot of controversy for playing this role from both the white community and the black community. But this movie made her a star. It made her an international star for being the first black woman to co-star in a James Bond movie. And it's known as a Bond girl. And there hasn't been that many black women play Bond girls over the last 25 movies that they've made. Out of the 25 James Bond movies, there's only been about 5 black women that have played Bond girls. You have Naomi Harris, who currently plays Miss Moneypenny. And then in the early 2000s, you had Halle Berry, who played in the Bond movie. And then in the 1980s, you had Grace Jones, who played in the Bond movie. And then in the 70s, you had Gloria Hendry. So there hasn't been a lot of black women that have played in the James Bond movies. Now, she's done numerous things throughout the 1970s, but she actually started out as a jazz singer in the 1960s. She started off as a jazz singer in the 1960s, and then she transitioned into an actress in the 1970s. And like I said, her heyday was the 70s. After the 70s, the blaxploitation era kind of went out of business. The Hollywood industry stopped making blaxploitation movies in 1977. And she said she went bankrupt when they stopped making those types of movies because she was stereotyped throughout the 1970s based on the popular roles that she was playing. So when they stopped making those types of movies, she stopped getting acting roles. So throughout the 1980s and 90s, she plays in very little acting roles. But in the 1990s, she gets her career back on track by getting back into jazz music. She married her husband, Phil Wright, in 1995. He's a legendary jazz musician, and she's been touring with him around the country over the last 20 years. And that's what she's doing now. Today, she's 71 years old. And as you can see, she looks lovely for a 71-year-old woman. And I'm glad to see that she's still alive and she's still performing. I've always been a huge fan of her and her work. A lot of people have different opinions about this topic. Leave a comment, rate, and subscribe.
All of me, why not take all of me? Can't you see I'm no good without you? Take my lips, I wanna use them. Take my arms, I never use them. Your goodbye has left me with eyes that cry. Why? the part that once was my little heart. So why not take all of me? Why not? Why not? Why not take all of me?
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have a family here. I have a bunch of friends. And I can go on and start naming. I've got about 50 people here. Thank you so much. And also, thank you so much to the fans for coming and keeping the franchise alive. I can't believe it. Trina Parks did the 7th Bond. I did the 8th Bond. And the franchise didn't think that they were going to be around this long. It's been like, what, is it 52 years? I hate to say it's been 42 for me. What about you? Never mind. Yeah, I was too. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this wonderful franchise has inspired the even Spy Museum in Washington. They even copied a number of the gadgets. And also let us fantasize, but at the same time, they need to bring the women on board, more provoking. And I suggested that they have Halle Berry as the next Bond. I'll be her. And of course, Aaron, you gotta be ready. And Trina, oh yeah. But I think the franchise, like putting this on and showing that they do understand and that they do care, that they're paying us tribute and letting you know that they know. Because I asked Elena Nava, thank you so much for coming up with this wonderful idea to put on this tribute. Thank you. And thank you so much for Sony Pictures to take it on, and for Columbia Pictures, and for the African American Critics Award to also, and Essence Magazine. Thank you so much. It will mean a lot to people out here that will say there is a possibility to be in a film such as this. Thank you very much.